Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. So today in this particular video, I am going to discuss how you can write hierarchical query very easily in Snowflake Cloud Data Warehouse platform. Okay, and this particular concept I am going to discuss with one very simple tips and tricks using which you can frame any hierarchical query very easily. And the same concept not only in Snowflake, you can apply in other RDBMS system also if you are having hierarchical data. Okay, like in Oracle RDBMS, it is having almost same syntax as of Snowflake, so you can take exactly same and try it out. Okay, if you are working with Oracle, right? And this particular topic is a very important topic, I can say hot topic in data engineering interview point of view. Okay, recently in my past interview experience, I have seen interviewer are frequently asking questions from this place, and also I have seen that many SQL practitioners or data engineers get confused in framing hierarchical query. That's why I have came up with one very simple trick using which you will never get confusion. Okay, so without any further delay, let's jump into the implementation section. Okay, so at many places we might need to handle hierarchical data, like just for example, you are working in an organization, there you are having a particular designation, you are reporting to some manager who is having their own designation, then that manager is reaching out to their manager. Like that hierarchical data you might be having in your RDBMS system or data warehouse. Or it might also happen that family information, grandfather, grandmother, parents, child, okay, and then granddaughters or grandsons, like that way also with respect to family, the hierarchical data can be present. And there are many other scenarios also where this kind of data is available in RDBMS. And while analyzing this kind of data, hierarchical query concept, what I am going to discuss, can help you a lot. Okay, so let's first try to understand one very simple hierarchy. Okay, so suppose we are having an organization where president is the top level, president don't have any manager, and there are two departments, one is vice president engineering, one is vice president HR, who are having the president as reporting manager. Okay, and then under vice president engineer there are two departments, one is programmer, one is QA engineering department. So basically all the employees related to programming and all the employees who are belonging to QA engineering team, they reach out to vice president engineer. So all the members of programmers and QA engineers, vice president engineering department is basically the reporting manager. Okay, like that same way for health insurance analyst department, for all the employees, their reporting manager are basically vice president HR. Okay, like that the hierarchy is there. Okay, now how we can store this data in our RDBMS system in tabular manner? It is very simple. We will be putting basically employee ID and manager ID, right? So here create or replace table employees, or you can say the table is basically employee hierarchy table, whatever name you are comfortable you can say. Okay, which is having employee name, title is basically indicating their designation. Okay, the employee ID, so employee ID is unique, right? And the manager ID, okay, manager ID is basically indicating the employee ID of that particular employee to whom the current employee is reporting. Okay, that is current employee is reporting manager's employee ID is stored in manager ID column. Okay, that is all the manager IDs are also employee IDs. Okay, that's what I am trying to say. Okay, so here if you see, the insert into query is very simple. Insert into employees, employee name, title, employee ID, manager. In all the four columns you are inserting the data, and values are Soham president, employee ID 1, manager ID null. Because Soham is president and president don't have any manager, so for Soham the manager ID is null. Okay, now in vice president engineering department, Rajdeep is there. Okay, Rajdeep is there in this department, and vice president engineering department is reaching out to president, right? So if you see, the manager ID is 1 for Rajdeep. Okay, manager ID 1, and for which row employee ID is 1? For Soham, the employee ID is 1, who is basically president. So this is indicating Rajdeep is reaching out to Soham. Rajdeep's reporting manager is Soham. Okay, and Rajdeep has his own unique employee ID also, which is 10. Okay, then Satudru is programmer. So programmer is reaching out to vice president, right? So for Sotodru, the employee ID, which is a unique key, is 100, that's fine. And see, the manager ID is 10. Okay. And for which department the employee ID 10 is there? The employee ID 10 is there in Vice President Engineering Department, which is having this name Rasdeep. Okay. So Sotodru's manager is Rasdeep. Okay. Similarly, Kamlesh is QA engineer and manager ID is 10. So Kamlesh, who is in QA engineering team, also reaching out to Rasdeep, who is in Vice President Engineering Department, because Rasdeep's employee ID is 10. Okay. Then Priya is Vice President HR. That is, Priya is an employee in this particular team, and as you can see in this diagram, all the employees from this team basically report to the president. Okay. So see, for Priya, the unique ID, employee ID is 20, that's fine, and manager ID is 1. Manager ID 1 means employee ID is 1 for whom? Employee ID 1 for president, right? So it is indicating Priya is reaching out to Soham, like that. Okay. Similarly, Sheikh, who is basically member of Health Insurance Analyst Department, employee ID is 200, that's fine, which is basically primary key, and manager ID is 20. Okay. So manager ID 20 for which employee the employee ID is 20? Employee ID is 20 for Priya, who is Vice President HR. Okay. So Sheikh's reporting manager is Priya, and obviously it is also matching this law of the tree, right? Because Sheikh is belonging to Health Insurance Analyst Department, who is reaching out to Priya, who is basically member of Vice President HR Department. Okay. So this way our graphical data or graph data is stored in our DBMS system. Okay. Now let's see how easily, using a very simple tips and tricks, we can basically play with the hierarchical data. Okay. So here what we are doing, here we are using a database, and then here we are creating a table. We are inserting some data in it, and then here we are doing select start from employees. Okay. So this is what we are getting, right? Now suppose this data we are having, currently in the beginning phase we don't have this kind of beautiful tree diagram. From this data we have to analyze, and we have to fetch who is one employee's reporting manager, who is one employee's reporting manager's reporting manager, that is 2-3 levels. Okay, like that also we might need to analyze the data sometime. That time how we can do? The general technique is consider employee ID as the primary key column, which is obvious, and manager ID is here acting like foreign key, because here you can see that manager ID here, whatever they are also basically employee of that organization, right? So for all the manager ID, in employee ID also some value will be there, and also you can see that manager ID can be repetitive. Okay, because it might happen multiple employees are reaching out to one single manager. That is also possible, right? So it is acting like foreign key, and generally what we do to get one level up in the hierarchical data, we basically do self join, considering the employee ID column as primary key and manager ID column as foreign key, right? That's what we do. But here you can see here multiple nesting is there, multiple levels in the tree is there. That time applying multiple self join makes the query bit complex, and it is not a very good practice as well. That time what we can do? So for that, in Snowflake, in Oracle, there are certain command is there which we can execute. Okay, that's what I am going to discuss. Okay, so let's see the syntax of that code. So how we can write the code? It is like select, then from this particular table, whatever columns you want to select, that you can put in the column list. Okay, then from the table name. Okay, so here you have to put that particular table name in which your hierarchical data is stored. Okay, then start with a very important clause. Okay, so here we are basically iterating in a tree diagram, right? So from where we have to start in the tree, from which level, either it is top level or middle level or lower level, from where we want to start our iteration, that we have to mention in the start with clause. Okay, so start with, and then here you can put some condition which will indicate the first level of the hierarchy from where you will start the iteration. Okay, and it is not necessary that you have to start with the president as a first level. Okay, you can start your iteration from the vice president and go in the bottom side, or you can start from vice president, go in the upper side, or you can start from programmer and go in the upper side. Like that, all possibilities you can do. Okay, so from where you want to start the iteration, that you have to mention here with one filter condition kind of stuff. and then here connect by prior. Okay, remember this. Okay, like how you remember that select count star basically give us the overall count of all the rows present in a table. Like that same way, you just remember this particular clause. There is select column list from table, then start with here we have to pass the filter condition and then connect by prior. Okay, this also we have to write. Okay, then here is the catch or trick what I am going to discuss. Okay, so here you have to pass how the joining will happen. In the backend, it will try to implement the join condition, how we do in self join to achieve the hierarchical data, right? That same way it will be doing, but it will do in the backend. Multi-level hierarchy also it can sort out. So here we have to specify the columns how we put in join clause. Okay. So here, if you want to iterate from top to down side, okay, top to bottom side, okay, then here first you have to write the primary key, then equal to, here you have to write the foreign key. Okay, I will tell you the trick to remember. No need to worry. As of now, you just understand like this way, that up to this connect by prior, the code is very simple. In the equal to case, in the left hand side of equal to, I'll be putting primary key. In the right hand side of the equal to, I'll be putting foreign key if I want to traverse from top to bottom in a particular tree. Okay, and what will be for bottom to up? From bottom to upside, if I want to iterate or traverse in the tree, then up to connect by prior, the code is same. All we will do, in the equal to symbol, in the left hand side we will be putting foreign key, in the right hand side we will be putting the primary key. That's all the change in between top down and bottom up approach. Okay, and here you can easily understand what is foreign key and primary key, right? Like here in the table from the manual inspection itself, you can say, okay, employee ID is obviously the primary key, because it is not possible in the same organization two employees have same employee ID, right? So employee ID is acting like primary key, and manager ID can be foreign key, because manager ID is not possible that it will be a primary key, right? Because primary key has to be unique. And manager ID cannot be unique, right? Because it might happen multiple employees are reporting to one same manager, right? Like here 10, manager ID 10, manager ID 10. That is both Sotodru and Kamlesh are reaching out to basically this particular employee who is basically Rasdeep, Vice President Engineering, right? So here manager ID is basically foreign key, okay? So detection of foreign key and primary key can be easily done from fundamental analysis of data, okay? Now let's see how we can remember, that is for top down case, first we'll be putting primary key and then we'll be putting foreign key, and for bottom up case we'll be first putting foreign key and then we'll be putting primary key. Okay, how to remember this? It is very simple. Okay, so if you just consider alphabetic order A B C D up to Z, A is appearing at the first position, so A's index is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, like that. So if you go like that way, P will appear at the 16th position and F is basically appearing at the 6th position, right? So P's position is higher. Okay, so like that you just remember P is basically at the top position compared to F. Okay, so P, that is the alphabet P, will be remembering it is indicating top and F is indicating bottom. Okay, now you can remember easily. If we want to go from top to bottom, how we will be writing the primary key and foreign key? That is top to bottom. P is top, right? So first we will be writing PK, that is primary key, and then we will be writing foreign key, because F is bottom. So I want to go from top to bottom and P is top, F is bottom. So first I will be writing primary key and then I will be writing foreign key in the equal to symbol. Okay. Suppose I want to go from bottom to top. In that case, F is the bottom value, lower value, and P is top value or higher value. So from FK to PK I will be going. So in the bottom to top approach, in the same code, just only change will be first I have to put foreign key and then I'll be putting primary key. That's it. Okay. Now let's see the implementation. Okay. So suppose I want to start the iteration from the top level and I want to go from top to bottom till complete lower part. Okay. How we can do? It is very simple. First, as I have told you, I have shared you the pattern, right? That same code I have written here. First, choose the columns, whatever you want to make in your output. That is employee name, title, and manager ID. Maybe you can take other stuff also. Okay, right? From employees, okay, the table name we are putting, then start with title equal to president, because I want to start from president, that is top level. Okay, then connect by prior. Up to this, it is, I have told you, right, that you have to remember connect by prior part. Then from top to bottom I want to go. That is top to bottom in the sense primary key to foreign key. So what is the primary key for the table, which is employee ID, right? And what is the foreign key? Foreign key is manager ID. So I'll be writing employee ID first and then I'll be writing manager ID. Okay. If I run this particular one, here you will see president is at the top. President's employee ID is 1. Now at the next step, it will be listing those employees who are reaching out to president. Okay. So see, Vice President Engineering Department and Vice President HR Department, for both of these rows, manager ID is 1. That means both of these rows are reaching out to president. Okay. And their employee ID is 10 and 20 respectively. Next, it will list down who are the employees who are reaching out to employee ID 10. Okay. So see, programmers and QA engineer. Okay. These two designation pupils are reaching out to Vice President Engineer who is having employee ID 10. Because see, for programmer and QA engineer, the manager ID is 10, right? Cool. And then the last row is basically indicating, here see manager ID is 20, who is basically indicating health insurance analyst is basically reporting to Vice President HR. Okay. Like that the data is flowing. So first the top level, then the middle level, and then the lower level it is beautifully showing us. Okay. Now I can show you with some twist, that is this particular code. Okay. So like in this case, here we have specified that start with president. Okay. Now it might happen sometime in the organization, you might not know what is the topmost level. Okay. Then what we can do, we can put some condition which will indicate that it is the top level. Okay. Like generally what happens, who is in the top level of the company, for them there is no reporting manager, right? So for those employees who is at the complete top, for them manager ID is null. So here you can specify, instead of title equal to president, you can put manager ID is null. So select employee ID, manager ID, title from employee, start with manager ID is null, connect by prior, and then here we want to go from top to bottom, right? So top to bottom in this is primary key to foreign key. So we are putting primary key employee ID first and then foreign key manager ID. If we run that, same code, same output, whatever we have got here, same output we are getting here. Just in this start with clause, I have changed a little bit. Okay. Now suppose I want to execute the same, but this time I want to start from QA engineer. Okay. So I want to start my iteration from QA engineer and I want to go in the lower side. Okay. That is from who are reporting to QA engineer and all we want to get. But from the diagram itself, you can understand no one is reaching out to QA engineer, right? So here, if we run this particular query, here we will be getting only one record, who is QA engineer itself. Okay. See here, what we are doing, code is same up to connect by prior. Here we are putting employee ID, which is primary key, and then we are putting foreign key. That means from top to bottom, that is top-down approach we are following. From top to downside we are going, right? And there below QA engineer, no one is there. So it is not returning any other result apart from QA engineer itself, right? Now, what we can do? So suppose QA engineer is here. For QA engineer in the lower side, no one is there, but we can go from QA engineer to upside, right? Now let's see the bottom up approach. We have seen top to bottom approach or top down approach. Now let's see bottom up approach. Okay. So what we are doing in bottom up approach? The code is almost same, right? How I have told you. Only difference is in the equal to place, first you have to put the foreign key and then you have to put the primary key if you want to go from bottom to up, because we are going from F to P, lower value to higher value. Okay. So basically first we have kept the foreign key and then here we are keeping the primary key. Okay. If we are running this, here you see how it is beautifully giving the result. First QA engineer, then here you see QA engineer is reaching out to Vice President Engineering, right? So here it is listing Vice President Engineering, and then Vice President Engineering reaching out to President. So here it is listing President. Okay. So for QA engineer, manager ID is 10. So it is in the next row, it is listing that particular employee who is having employee ID 10. Then for this employee, the manager ID is 1. And in the next row, it is listing that particular row which is having employee ID 1. Like that, step by step, it is going. Okay. And you can understand that here it is going multi-level. Without computing multiple self-join, here it is iterating multiple level. That's the beauty of this connect by prior clause. Okay. Now here is the next code. Okay. What we are doing here? Suppose I want to start from Vice President HR this time. That is basically this particular level. And I want to go from Vice President HR. I want to start from here and I want to go from top to bottom. Okay, there is vice president HR and health insurance analyst. This kind of information we want to get. Okay, maybe if some department is reaching out to health insurance analyst, that also we want to list down. Okay, so for that the code looks like this. Select employee ID, manager ID, title. From employees, start with vice president HR, connect by prior, same clause whatever I have told you. Then I want to go from top to bottom. From vice president HR, I want to go to the bottom side, right? So top to bottom in the sense first P to F. So primary key to foreign key. So first we are putting primary key and then we are putting the foreign key. Okay. If we are running that, here we will be getting, see, beautifully vice president HR, for which employee ID is 20. Next it is listing that row who is basically reaching out to vice president HR. See, manager, for this row manager ID is 20, employee ID is 200, who is belonging to health insurance analyst. Okay, perfect. Now suppose I want to go, or I want to start from vice president HR and I want to go to the top side. Okay, that is I want to start from this level and I want to go in the upper side, that is bottom to up. Same query, only thing, if I want to go from bottom to up, that is F to P I will be going, because F is in the bottom side, P is in the upper side. Okay, so first we are writing foreign key and then we are writing the primary key. That's it. Okay, and the rest part is same. If we are running that, here see, first we are getting vice president HR from where we are starting, and then here it is listing the next top level. So vice president HR is reaching out to president, that's why it is listing like that way. Okay, same goes for vice president engineering. Okay, so suppose I want to start from vice president engineering and I want to go in the bottom side. Okay, so how the code will be, select employee ID, manager ID, title. From employee, start with title vice president engineering, connect by prior, up to this it is same. And then here I want to start from top to bottom, right? That is basically higher to lower value. That is basically primary key to foreign key. So first we are writing primary key, then we are writing foreign key. If I am running this, here you will see vice president engineering is coming in the first row. Then it is listing all those rows who are reaching out to vice president engineering. Okay, see here programmer. For programmer, the manager ID is 10, and for vice president engineering, the employee ID is 10, right? So basically it is indicating this programmer is reaching out to this vice president engineer. Okay, same goes for QA engineer. Here you can see manager ID is 10, and for vice president engineering, actually the employee ID is 10. So that means the QA engineer is also reaching out to this particular vice president engineering. Okay, perfect, very simple. Okay, now here what we are doing, suppose I want to go from vice president engineer to the top level. Okay, that is bottom to top I want to go. That is from vice president engineer to top. That is bottom to up we want to go, bottom up approach. Okay, so lower value is F, higher value is P. So first we'll be putting foreign key and then we'll be putting the primary key. That's all the changes. Okay, if I am running this, see here we started from vice president engineer and then we want to go to the upside, right? So here you can see for this particular vice president engineer, the manager ID is 1 and manager ID 1 and employee ID 1 is coming in this row. That is this particular vice president engineer is reaching out to this particular president. Okay, that's how it is working. I hope it is crystal clear to you. Up to connect by prior, it is very simple. Only thing you have to remember, if you want to go from top to bottom, because P is top value, F is lower value, then if you want to go from top to bottom, first put primary key and then put foreign key. If you want to go from bottom to top, then first put foreign key and then put the primary. That's it. Okay, then another very important property is level. Okay, so what is level? Level is a pseudo column which will indicate the current level of the hierarchy. Okay, where level 1 starts from the top of the hierarchy. Okay, so here from wherever you want to start, from there how levels are going, that you can basically get using the level property. Okay, how we can use that? See, here is the code. Select employee ID, manager ID, title, and I am putting another column level. From employees, start with title vice president HR. So I want to start from vice president HR and I want to go from top to bottom. Okay, top to bottom in the sense what? Primary key to foreign key. So first we are putting primary key and then we are putting the foreign key. Okay, just we have added the extra one column which is level. That's it. Okay, so if you are running that, here we will be getting whatever data you are getting earlier. Along with that, it is listing level 1 and this is level 2. Because if you see from top to bottom when you are going, vice president HR, right? So from vice president HR, if you are going to the bottom hand side, it is the first level, right? So it is given the level 1. Okay, then next health insurance analyst is there. That's why it is given the level 2. That is, level is basically indicating the current level of the hierarchy, while level 1 is basically from where you are starting. That is, level 1 will be for the start with plus whatever row will be there. That is basically level 1. And then it will be basically keep on increasing by 115. That's it, okay. So like, just for example, same you can apply for president, okay. So suppose I want to go from president, which is topmost in our actual tree structure also. From there we want to go from top to bottom approach, okay. So I just added the level column as addition. And if I want to go from top to bottom, that is primary key, then foreign key. So first we are putting primary key, then we are putting foreign key. If we are running that, see here, it is beautifully listing the level. So president is basically level 1. Then vice president engineer, vice president HR, both are coming under level 2, right? So here you can see president is first level, vice president engineer and vice president HR are at the same level. That's why they are both given level 2. Okay. Then programmer, QA engineer and health insurance analyst, for all of them, they are all getting same level, level 3, because they are all actually in the same level in our tree structure also. Right? Very simple. Okay. Maybe suppose in interview you are asked, find all the employees who are reporting to president. Okay. How you can do? Basically, first, if you get this kind of data, then to understand who are reaching out to president, we can basically put a simple filter condition and we can take only those roles which is having level 2, because they are basically employees who are reaching out to president, because they are sitting just in the level 2, right? With respect to president, if you are iterating from top to down approach, right? So that's what here we are doing. Select star from, and here inside this we have kept the same query whatever I have discussed earlier. That is, we are starting from president and we are putting first the primary key and then foreign key. That is, top to bottom we are iterating, and then here we are putting a filter condition where level equal to 2. This way we will be getting the information about those employees who are reaching out to president. Very simple, right? If we run that, see here employee ID 10 and employee ID 20. For both of them, manager ID is 1. Manager ID 1 means what? Employee ID 1 is for president, right? So for both of these employees, the reporting manager is basically the president. And here level 2 is showing. Maybe you can be asked this kind of question. Find all the employees who are reporting to such employees where those employees are reporting to president. Okay. That is, in simple words, find out all the employees whose reporting manager is president. Okay. Like the 2 level it might be asked. Very simple. If you just run this particular query, because here you are getting the level, here, what is the question? The question is find out those employees for whom their reporting manager is president. So like here you can consider programmer's reporting manager is vice president engineer and vice president engineers is president, right? So we should be getting the programmer as outcome because programmer's manager is president, right? So how we can get that? Basically we can put a filter condition level equal to 3, because basically with respect to the query, whatever question is asked, we have to go 2 more level up, right? That's pretty much it. So here we can put a very simple filter clause on level equal to 3. And if we are running that, here we'll be getting programming QA engineer, health insurance analyst. So for all these employees, their reporting manager is basically president. Very simple, right? And then the last topic what I want to discuss, that is how we can get the complete tree structure, complete path. Okay. And for that in Snowflake, the command is sysconnect by path. Okay. So sysconnect by path returns a string that contains the path from the root to the current element. Okay. Whether you are going from top to bottom or bottom to top. Okay. However you are iterating does not matter. From the root, that is from where you are starting, from there, how you reached till current level, it will show you that complete stuff. Okay. Like, let me show you with one example. Select employee ID, manager ID, title, level, however we write. That's whatever we have discussed earlier, same thing we have written here. Then here we added one extra stuff. Sysconnect by path, title, and putting the arrow symbol as path. Okay. From employees, start with title president. That is, we are starting from president. We want to do top-down iteration. So top-down in the sense, primary key to foreign key. So first we are putting primary key, then we are putting foreign key. Let's run this and let's see how it is working. Okay. See, it is showing the path. At each row, this path column is basically showing a string value that contain the path from the root, that is from where the iteration is started till the current element. Okay, like here you can see in the second row it is vice president engineering. How we reached? First we reached to president, and from president it is vice president engineering, right? Like that same way, here it is president and then vice president engineering. Perfect, right? Then here if you see programmer, how we reached programmer? Started from president, then vice president engineering, then programmer, right? Same here we are getting first president, then vice president engineer, then programmer. Okay, here we have given title in the sys connect by path. That's why it is showing the title, how it moves. If you want, you can put the employee ID. Okay, I can put the employee and then show you. If I run connect by path and employee ID, see for programmer how it is showing. Programmer's employee ID is 100, right? So how in 100 we are reaching? First in root, the president's employee ID is 1. So first it was 1, then employee ID 10. Employee ID 10 means this vice president engineering, this particular employee is reaching out to president. Okay, then the programmer who is having employee ID 100 and manager ID 10, that programmer is reaching out to vice president engineer. Okay, so that's why first president, then vice president engineer, and then basically here it is showing the programmer. Here if you are comfortable with name column, because here we are having name column also, right? So here I can put employee name. Any column, whatever you are comfortable, you can write. So here I can put employee name, also not a problem. Here you will be getting the manager name. So if you consider the QA engineer, okay. So president is Soham. Rajdeep, who is basically in vice president engineering department, he is reaching out to Soham. And Kamlesh, who is basically QA engineer, which is having employee ID 100, he is reaching out to Rajdeep. So like that the complete tree we are getting. Okay, right? And that same way, here what I have shown, suppose I want to start from vice president HR, and then here what I want, that is basically I want to start from vice president HR and I want to go from top to bottom. Okay, there is top to bottom in the sense I will be basically using the primary key first and then the foreign key, right? And then here we have kept the level and the connect by path also, and then here we can put a where condition on level also. So all possibilities I am showing. If I run this one, here you can see. So for vice president HR, if we go from top to bottom, only in level 2, only one group will be there, which is basically health insurance analyst, because only one employee is there currently in this table who is in health insurance analyst and who is in level 2 if we start iteration from vice president HR, right? So like that way you can combine level, sys connect by path, all these things together and play with it. Okay, same goes for vice president engineer. Okay, suppose you want to get the complete path and all the information for all those employees who are reaching out to vice president engineer. Okay, so we are starting with vice president engineer and then we want to go from top to bottom side, right? So that way we are putting first primary key and then we are putting foreign key. Okay, and then here we are putting level equal to 2. That way we will be getting those employee information who are reaching out to the vice president engineer, right? So if we run this one, here the programmer and QA engineer, these two employees are basically reaching out to vice president, and here you can see the path also. So first it is starting with vice president and then it is going to programmer. So based on which place we are starting, from that the sys connect by path will be displaying the structure. Okay, that's pretty much it. I hope you got the feeling. That's all for this particular video. Just remember the trick, that is up to this particular place it is same. Only bit change will be first you have to put foreign key or first you have to put primary key in the equal to symbol. That only you have to remember, and for that I have explained the trick also. And also you should remember the level is a pseudo column which will basically display the level when iterating in level by level with respect to the starting point, at what level currently we are present, that will be listed. This also can help you in executing certain queries. And sys connect by path will be basically giving you starting from root, that is from where we have started, that is start with title, from where we started, from that place how we reached to that particular path. It will not show from where our actual starting point. Don't confused, okay? Don't get confused, okay? It will not start from president. It will only start from where we are starting in the start with clause, okay? From there how we are reaching till that particular current row, that it is showing in the path column. That's it, okay? It is a string, okay? I hope you understood this. This is all for this video. Go through this video again if you not able to understand at a single try, and I will be discussing lot more concepts, lot more interview questions related to this particular topic to make you perfectly comfortable with hierarchical data handling. This is all for this video. If you find this video helpful, then please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now. And don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification of our latest videos. Thank you.